Hmm.
Hello, my dear students. Today we shall read the third poem of the textbook. The name of the poem is Keeping Quiet. Now we shall see what Pablo Neruda has written about the poem, what is his appeal, what is the theme of the poem. This poem is a kind of appeal to us. Neruda wants to tell us that we should take out some of the time for taking rest. Rest, he means to say that rest is also necessary in the life because all the time, if we are moving our arms or hands, if we are running our machines or engines, and we are not taking out some of the time for rest, it means we cannot understand ourselves, nor can we understand the people who are standing, sitting, and who are walking around us. Means he says that we cannot understand our neighborhood, our neighboring people. So he appeals us to keep quiet. Now we shall read the meaning of the poem line by line. In the first two lines, he says, "Now we will count to 12 and we will all keep still." Here, the poet wants to tell that we shall keep only for a while, only for a short while, quiet. Up to 12 means here for short time. He says that, or he appeals us that we should keep stillness for a short period of time. Second stanza, for once on the face of the earth, let us not speak in any language. Let us stop for 1 second and not move our arms so much. The same thing is here also. He says that we should not move our arms, our feet, we should not move our tongue, and we should keep quiet and stillness for a little time to understand about ourselves and about the others. And in the third stanza, it would be an exotic moment without rush, without engines. We would all be together in a sudden strangeness. And here in the third stanza, the poet says that if we are not running the engines, if we are not running our here and there to do our work, because nowadays you can see that the people are running all the time for making the money, for hoarding the money, for laundering the money. And that is why they are running their engines, their motors all the time. He says that if we keep quiet for some of the time, certainly this moment will be very exotic moment. Exotic means here very delightful moment. And we shall find the time to think for other things. And this time will be a strange time in our life. We shall feel it. In the next stanza, the poet says, fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales, and the man gathering salt would look at his hurt hands. Here, the poet says that if the fisherman takes out some of the time, in this period he would not harm the whales. Whale is the symbolic word here, means he would not harm the fishes. And also he says that the people who are gathering the salt, if we take out some of the time for rest, they could get the time to see their fingers and the heart of the fingers, and it means that they would get the time to understand their problems which are creating the havoc, the hazards. And in the next stanza we can see those who prepare green wars, wars with gas, wars with fire, victory with no survivors. The poet says here that those people who are running all the time, means who are doing the work all the time without any rest. They are really just like the warriors, just like the fighters. That they are fighting with the green. Green means here the environment. They are polluting the environment, they are polluting the land, they are polluting the waters. And war with fire means they are blasting the bombs, they are shooting with the rifle, with the pistol and other things. It means they are throwing out the energies uselessly. This is a kind of war, really. And what would be the result in the last? There would not be any survivor to get the victory, to see the victory. Just like in Mahabharata, the Kauravas fought with Pandavas, but no Kauravas were there to see the result, to see the victory, and walk about with their brothers. They should put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in the shade doing nothing. Here the poet says that if we take the rest for some times, then at that time or in that period we shall not be killing anyone. There would not be any kind of killing, any kind of death, any kind of violence. It means we are we are putting on the clean cloth, means spotless cloth, stainless cloth. There would not be any kind of charge upon us. We shall not be getting any kind of blame upon us. And then we shall get the time to gather together in the shade of the trees. We shall ask the problems of others, and after getting the problems, we shall try to think over the solution of it. The next line: what I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Life is what it is about. Total inactivity. Total inactivity means death. Total inactivity means death. The poet doesn't say that he is talking about the death. Track. Track means here association, connection. He does not mean that he is telling about the permanent stoppage. Death is a permanent stoppage, a permanent silence. He is not talking about the death. Life is what it is about. The poet says that life is a meaningful thing. It has a meaning. It is not only eating, drinking, and merrymaking, then die. It doesn't mean. It means that life, we have got the life to do something useful for the others. I want no truck with death. If we were not so single minded about keeping our lives moving and for once could do nothing, perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness. Now the poet says, if we shall take rest for some times and we shall not do anything for some time, for a short while, certainly we shall we shall realize a very strange type of happiness, and this happiness will interrupt the sadness of the running all the time, the sadness of war, the threatening of death. We shall not realize in this period of silence. We shall understand mutually the problem of others, the problem of ourselves. Really, this time will be a very strange time, very exotic time about the poet, according to the poet. Of never understanding ourselves might interrupt this sadness of never understanding ourselves, and of threatening ourselves with death. The poet says, the time when we are taking rest, that time will not invite the threatening of the death. That time will not invite the problems of the death. That is why the poet is appealing again and again that we should take rest for some time, for a short period of time, so that we can understand mutually one another, each other. And in the last stanza, perhaps the earth can teach us as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. Now I will count up to 12 and you keep quiet, I will go. And in the last, the poet says that if you want to learn something from the nature, please take the example for the earth. Sometimes in some seasons, you can say in winter season, we think that the poet is uh, all quiet, permanent quiet, just like a dead one. But it is really not like dead one. As soon as it gets the suitable weather, suitable time, suitable season, again the plants, the seeds start their growth. It means we should take time for rest for some time in order to think over our plans, over our strategies, and then we should try to do our work with double energy, just like the earth does. On the whole, if we see the summary of the poem, the theme of the poem is only an appeal to us, to the people of the world, that they should take some of the take the time for the rest. Only then we can understand the problems of each other. Only then we can get the time to think over the matter, and we can get the time to solve the matter for the solution. And one thing also the poet says that we should not try to pollute our land, our waters, and our environment. That is all, my dear students. If you have understood the teaching, please give the response also to me on the YouTube channel. I will issue the YouTube channel to you and you will get linked with it. That's all.